Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into a story about cold. Not the kind where you turn up your thermostat, not the kind where you complain about scraping ice, the kind of cold that kills you if you make one wrong decision, the kind that buries entire towns and doesn't apologise. Drop your city and local time in the comments. I want to know who else is cosy right now, warm and safe, about to hear how close an entire town came to starving to death in 1881. Now settle in. Get comfortable. Because you're about to experience 7 months of blizzards so relentless they made grown men weep and teenagers risk their lives for wheat. You're standing in Smet, Dakota territory. It's October 15th, 1880. And you're about to learn that October blizzards aren't supposed to exist this far from the Rockies. They're meteorologically rare. Nearly unheard of. The kind of thing that makes old trappers shake their heads and mutter warnings nobody wants to believe. But here it comes anyway. The sky this morning was blue. Perfect prairie blue. The kind that stretches forever. You went about your day thinking winter was still weeks away. Time to prepare. Time to stock up. Time to get ready. You were wrong. By noon, the temperature drops 20 degrees in an hour. You can feel it happening. Feel the air turning sharp and mean. The wind picks up, not gradually, suddenly. Like something angry woke up on the horizon and decided to come for you. The clouds roll in from the northwest. Dark, heavy, moving too fast. And then the snow starts. Except it doesn't fall. It flies. Horizontal. Driven by wind gusting over 40 miles per hour. You can't see across the street. Can't see your hand in front of your face. The world turns white. Completely white. And the sound. The wind doesn't howl during a prairie blizzard. It screams. It shrieks like something dying, like the land itself is being murdered and wants everyone to know. Here's what you need to understand about this blizzard. October 15th. October. People in Smet haven't even finished their fall preparations. Haven't cut enough firewood. Haven't stockpiled enough food. Because October blizzards don't happen here. Except this one did. 3 days. 72 hours of wind and snow and cold that drops to 20 below zero. 3 days of being trapped inside whatever shelter you managed to reach when the storm hit. 3 days of burning furniture because the firewood ran out. 3 days of wondering if this is how you die. When it finally stops, the silence is eerie. Wrong. You step outside and the snow is everywhere. Drifted 10 feet high against buildings. Packed hard as concrete. The main street is unrecognizable. Landmarks are buried. The whole town looks like someone tried to erase it with white paint. And the train tracks. The railroad connects Smet to civilization, to supplies, to food, to survival, and it's gone. Completely buried under snow packed so hard that men with shovels can't dig through it. The tracks that carried your hope are erased by 3 days of October snow that shouldn't exist. You're Charles Ingalls, 44 years old. You've survived a lot. Grasshopper plagues, debt, moving your family across half the continent chasing dreams that never quite work out. But you've always survived, always found a way. That's what you do. Your family is living above Fuller's store, 1 room, thin walls, no insulation. Your wife Caroline, your 4 daughters, Mary, who's been blind for a year now, Laura, 15 and sharp as a knife. Carrie, 10. Grace, 3. 5 people in 1 room facing a winter that just announced itself 3 months early. You've got some wheat stored, some. Not enough for 7 months. Not even close. But enough for now. Enough to hope the trains start running again soon. Enough to believe this is temporary. Listen to the wind starting up again. It's only been quiet for 18 hours. Now it's back. Another storm rolling in from the northwest. And you realise with a sick feeling in your stomach, this isn't one bad storm, this is the beginning of something worse, something catastrophic. November comes, more storms, the trains try to run. Sometimes they make it through. Sometimes they get stuck halfway between towns and have to turn back. Sometimes they don't make it at all. The pattern establishes itself. 2 or 3 days of clear weather, maybe, if you're lucky. Then another blizzard. 2 days, 3 days, sometimes 4, then a break, then another storm, over and over, forever. The coal supply in town is running low. Coal heats houses, coal runs stoves, coal is civilization, and it's disappearing fast because the trains that bring coal are stuck 40 miles away in snowdrifts 12 feet high. You watch your neighbours start burning twisted hay, taking prairie grass, twisting it into tight sticks, burning it in their stoves. Each stick burns for maybe 20 minutes. Then you need another and another. Your hands cramp from twisting. Your fingers crack and bleed. But you keep going because the alternative is freezing. December comes. The trains stop completely. Tracy, Minnesota to Huron, Dakota Territory. 40 feet of snow on the tracks. Not drifts. 40 feet of packed solid snow. No train is getting through that. The railroad gives up, announces that service is suspended until spring. Spring. That's 4 months away. Minimum. The town realises we're on our own. Completely isolated. Whatever food is in Smet right now is all the food there's going to be until the trains run again. You start rationing. 1 small loaf of brown bread per family per day. You grind wheat in a coffee mill because the commercial mills have stopped operating. Grinding wheat by hand, 1 painful rotation at a time, for hours, until you have enough flour for 1 small loaf, and that's dinner. That's all there is. You're in Hawthorne's store. What's left of it anyway? The shelves are empty. Bare wood. Nothing to sell. The storekeeper stands behind the counter looking haunted. This man built his business selling supplies to settlers. Now he's got nothing. Men gather here anyway, because humans need gathering places, need somewhere to pretend normalcy exists. To talk about something other than hunger and cold, and the fact that they might all be dead by April. Someone brings up the wheat rumour, says he heard it from a man who heard it from another man who maybe knew a settler who grew wheat southwest of town. The details are vague, distance uncertain, name unknown. But the wheat might exist. Might. That's the word everyone keeps using. Might. Because certainty doesn't exist anymore. Only possibilities. Only desperate hopes. 12 miles, someone says, maybe 20, through open prairie, between blizzards, in February. The room goes quiet. Everyone understands what that means. Riding 12 miles in summer is easy, pleasant even. But 12 miles in February 1881, between blizzards, with no landmarks and wind that can kill you in 15 minutes, that's not a trip. That's a suicide mission. The weather could turn, someone points out. Storm could hit while you're out there. You'd be dead before you made it back. True. Every blizzard this winter has given maybe 1 day of warning. Sometimes less. Sometimes the sky just opens up and you're in whiteout conditions with no warning at all. Being caught in the open during a blizzard is a death sentence. Everyone knows this. Even if the wheat exists, another voice says. How do we know the settler will sell? It's his seed wheat, his future crop. Why would he part with that? Valid question. Seed wheat is sacred. It's next year's survival, next year's income. Asking a farmer to sell his seed wheat is asking him to gamble his entire future. That's not a small ask. Your family is starving. Mary, blind and patient, grinding wheat hour after hour. Laura, angry and hungry. Caroline, getting thinner, rationing herself to nothing so the girls can eat. And you, Charles Ingalls, who's supposed to protect them, supposed to provide, supposed to find a way. But you don't have a way. Not this time. Listen to the wind outside. It's not storming right now, just wind. Constant, brutal wind that rattles the building and seeps through every crack. That's the sound of the enemy. That's what stands between survival and death. Someone's got to go, you say quietly. The room turns toward you. Someone's got to try, because if we don't, we're all dead by April anyway. The truth settles over everyone like snow, heavy, undeniable. Who, though, someone asks? Who's got horses strong enough? Who knows the prairie well enough? Who's brave enough or crazy enough to risk it? Most men in Smet are middle-aged or older. Family men with wives and children depending on them. Taking that risk means possibly leaving your family without a provider, without protection, without anyone. The younger men are mostly railroad workers, here temporarily. They don't have horses, don't know the prairie, don't have the skills or equipment for a journey like this. And then someone mentions a name. 2 names, actually. Almanzo Wilder and Cap Garland. Almanzo, 21 years old, owns beautiful Morgan horses, Prince and Lady. He's a skilled horseman. Everyone knows this. Grew up farming in Minnesota and New York, knows how to handle animals in tough conditions, knows the prairie, and he's young, single, no children depending on him. If he dies out there, he's only killing himself. Cap Garland, 15, son of a widow, primary supporter of his mother and sisters, which makes him a terrible candidate. His family can't afford to lose him, but he's brave, reckless even. The kind of young man who thinks he's invincible because he hasn't lived long enough to learn otherwise. And right now, the town needs reckless. Will they go? Someone asks. Nobody knows. Almanzo's practical, careful, smart. He might calculate the odds and refuse. Might decide that risking his life and his horses for maybe wheat 12 or 20 miles away through blizzard conditions is insane. And it is insane. Make no mistake, this is not a reasonable plan. This is desperation masquerading as strategy. But desperation is all anyone has left. You're Almanzo Wilder, and you're standing in your brother Royal's feed store on Calumet Avenue, having an argument you never thought you'd have. Royal is your older brother, 33 years old, practical, sensible, the kind of man who thinks things through before acting, and right now, he thinks you're out of your mind. 20 miles? Royal's voice is sharp, disbelieving. You want to ride 20 miles looking for wheat that might not exist from a farmer who might not sell it between blizzards that could kill you? Are you listening to yourself? You understand his concern, because he's not wrong. Everything he's saying is logical, reasonable, safe. But safe isn't an option anymore. Safe died in January when the train stopped running and the food ran out. People are starving, you say quietly. It's not dramatic, just factual. Charles Ingalls is out of wheat. His family is dying. The whole town is dying. Then let someone else go, Royal shoots back. Let the older men go. This isn't your responsibility. But it is. Because you have the horses, because you have the skills, because you're young enough to possibly survive if things go wrong, and because behind the false wall in this very building, you have 60 bushels of premium seed wheat you cultivated in Marshall, Minnesota last summer. Your future, your farm, your prosperity. 60 bushels of hope hidden behind boards. You've been protecting it, hoarding it, planning to plant it this spring, and you've been wondering if you should share it, sell some, help the town. But 60 bushels divided among 80 people doesn't last long, doesn't solve anything, just delays the inevitable. But 60 bushels from a settler south of town plus your 60 bushels, that might be enough. That might stretch to spring. Nobody can tell when a blizzard will hit, Royal continues. He's pacing now, agitated. We haven't had more than one clear day at a time since this thing started. What if you're out there and a storm rolls in? What's your plan then? You don't have a plan for that. Nobody does. Because getting caught in a February blizzard on the open prairie means you die. Period. There's no survival strategy. No clever trick. You just freeze while the wind screams and the snow buries you. A fellow wouldn't have the chance of a snowball in Hades, Royal says, and you realise he's genuinely scared. Not for himself, for you. Because you're his little brother and he's watched out for you your whole life, and now you're talking about riding into a death trap. Listen to the silence between you, the weight of impossible decisions. That's the sound of winter turning men into gamblers. I'm going, you say finally. Someone has to. Royal stares at you, and you can see it in his face, the realization that you've made up your mind, that arguing won't change anything. Then I'm coming with you, Royal says. No. Your voice is firm. You've got your wife, your business. I'm single. I've got nothing tying me down. If I don't make it back, nobody's future gets destroyed except mine. It's brutal logic. Cold logic. The kind of calculation you make when the alternative is watching everyone starve. The door opens. Cap Garland walks in. 15 years old. Skinny. Confident. Too young to understand how bad this idea is. I heard you're going after wheat, Cap says. No preamble, just statement. You nod. I'm coming with you. Royal looks horrified. You're a child. Your mother needs you. My mother needs wheat more than she needs me standing around watching her starve, Cap shoots back. And there's something in his voice. Something hard. This kid's seen too much suffering. Lost his father. Become the man of the house too young. You understand that. Respect it, even. This is what desperation looks like on a 15-year-old face. It's dangerous, you tell him. Not talking down, just honest. We might not find anything. We might die trying. You understand that? Yeah. Cap's voice doesn't waver. But we're going to die anyway if we don't try, so we might as well try. Logic. Brutal, desperate teenage logic. You look at Royal. He looks back. And you both know this is happening. Two young men, too brave or too stupid to refuse, about to ride into February for wheat that might not exist. When do we leave? Cap asks. Tomorrow morning, you say, if the weather holds. You're standing in your stable. It's dark. The kind of dark that happens at 5 a.m. in February when the sun hasn't even considered rising yet. The cold seeps through your coat, through your skin, settles in your bones like it plans to stay forever. But you're not thinking about the cold. You're thinking about the horses, your horses, Prince and Lady, the matched pair of Morgan horses that are about to become the difference between survival and death for an entire town. Let me tell you about Morgan horses, because understanding these animals is understanding why you have a chance. The Morgan is America's first horse breed. The story starts in 1789 with a schoolteacher named Justin Morgan and a small bay stallion named Figure. That horse became the foundation sire of an entire breed. What makes Morgans different? Everything. They're compact, powerful, 15 hands high on average, not huge, not flashy, but built for endurance, for strength, for surviving conditions that would kill bigger, weaker horses. They've got thick necks, muscled shoulders, deep chests that give them lung capacity for hours of work. Their legs are strong, clean, their hooves are hard. They can work all day, every day, and keep going when other horses quit. And temperament. The temperament. Morgans are gentle, intelligent, willing. They bond with their handlers. They want to work, want to please. They're not skittish, not panicky. They're steady, reliable. The kind of horse you trust with your life. Your family has been breeding Morgans since the 1830s. Your father owned them. Your grandfather owned them. The Wilder family helped establish this breed. And now you're looking at Prince and Lady, your matched pair. Beautiful brown animals with glossy coats and intelligent eyes. You've had them for years, raised them, trained them, ridden them through every condition. You know these horses like you know your own hands. Know their strengths, their limits, their personalities. Prince is the leader, the more confident of the pair. He's the one who decides which direction to go when you give them loose rein. He's also the one who'll keep going when he's exhausted, when his muscles are screaming and his lungs are burning. Prince doesn't quit. Lady is steadier, more cautious. She takes her cues from Prince, but she's also the one who notices danger first. Her ears flick forward when something's wrong. She tenses, alerts. She's saved you from trouble more than once. Together, they're perfect, complementary, a team that functions like a single organism, and today you're betting everything on them. Listen to their breathing in the cold stable. Steady, calm. They don't know what's coming. Don't understand that you're about to ask them to do something that might kill them. They just know you're here early and that usually means work. You feed them extra, oats, hay, more than normal. Because they're going to need every bit of energy. They'll be pulling a sled through deep snow for 12 miles, maybe 20, with wheat loaded for the return trip. Most horses couldn't do it. Not in these conditions. Not in February with temperatures below zero and wind that cuts like knives. But Morgans can. If any horses can survive this, it's them. You harness them carefully. Check every buckle, every strap. Everything has to be perfect because equipment failure 12 miles from town in a blizzard means you die. You adjust Lady's bit, secure Prince's traces, make sure the sled is sound. Cap arrives, stamping snow off his boots, breathing hard from the cold. He looks at your horses and you see the moment he understands. These aren't ordinary animals. They're beautiful, Cap says quietly. Respectful. They're everything, you reply. Simple truth. The sun is starting to rise. Barely. A grey light creeping across the eastern horizon. You watch it. Calculate. Full daylight by 7. Sunset by 5:30. That gives you 11 hours of light. 11 hours to ride 12 miles, find the wheat, negotiate, load up and ride 12 miles back. 11 hours, assuming everything goes perfectly. Royal appears in the doorway. He's holding something, a small cloth bag. He hands it to you. Money. You can feel the coins through the fabric. This is everything Royal has. For the wheat, Royal says gruffly. If you find it. You nod, can't speak. Because this is your brother giving you his life savings to buy wheat that might not exist. Be careful, Royal says, and his voice cracks. Come back. I will, you promise. Hoping it's not a lie. The town is waking up. Doors opening. People emerging. Someone must have spread the word because there's a small crowd gathering. Watching. Hoping. These people are starving. Desperate. They're putting their faith in 2 young men and 2 horses. No pressure. You climb onto the sled. Cap joins you. The horses lean into their harnesses. The sled moves. Runners squeaking on packed snow. You guide Prince and Lady out of town. South. Following instinct and rumour and hope. The prairie spreads out before you. White. Endless. Broken only by the occasional drift or rise. No trees. No shelter. Just open land that can kill you if you make one mistake. The temperature is 10 below 0, maybe colder. The wind is steady, not howling, not yet, but constant, pushing against you, making every breath hurt, making exposed skin sting. Your horses move steadily, their hooves crunch through the top layer of snow, break through into softer snow beneath. Each step is work, exhausting work. But they don't complain. They just keep going because you ask them to and they trust you. You watch the horizon, watch for landmarks, watch for signs of human habitation, watch for anything that might indicate where this settler lives. The prairie in winter is deceptive. Everything looks the same, white on white, rises that could be hills or could be drifts, hollows that could be sloughs or could be valleys. You navigate by the sun, by the angle of the wind, by instinct built from years of riding this land. Cap is quiet beside you. Not scared quiet, focused quiet. His eyes scan the horizon, looking, searching. He's young, but he's not stupid. He knows how easy it would be to miss the settler's place, to ride past it without seeing it, to wander until the horses give out and the cold takes you. Hours pass, the sun climbs higher, not warm, never warm in February, but brighter, easier to see. You spot a landmark, a lone cottonwood tree. Skeletal branches reaching up like fingers. You know this tree. It marks the edge of Twin Lakes, which means you're maybe 8 miles from town. Maybe. You adjust course, southwest, away from the lakes, because the rumour said the settler was southwest. That's all you have, southwest, and hope. The horses are working hard now. You can see it in the way their shoulders strain, the way their breath comes heavier, clouds of steam in the frozen air, but they're not struggling yet, not faltering. They're Morgans. They're built for this. Listen to the sound of runners on snow, the creak of leather, the steady breathing of horses that refuse to quit. That's the sound of survival. That's the sound of hope moving forward at 3 miles per hour. You think about Mary Ingalls, blind girl grinding wheat in the dark, about Laura, fierce and hungry, about little Grace who doesn't understand why there's never enough food, about Caroline Ingalls watching her children waste away and being powerless to stop it. That's why you're here. That's why you're risking everything. Because sitting in town waiting to starve isn't living, it's dying slowly. And if you're going to die anyway, you might as well die trying. 10 miles, maybe 11. You've been riding for 3 hours. Your face is numb. Your feet are blocks of ice inside your boots. Cap is shivering beside you, not violently, not yet. But you notice the cold is getting to him, and you still haven't seen anything. No buildings, no smoke, no signs of human life, just endless white prairie and a sun that gives light but no warmth. Doubt creeps in. The kind of doubt that whispers, what if this is a fool's errand? What if the rumour was wrong? What if there is no settler? What if you're going to ride until the horses collapse and then freeze to death in the middle of nowhere for nothing? You push the doubt down, because doubt doesn't help. Doubt doesn't find wheat. You keep going, keep searching, keep hoping. And then Cap sees it. His hand shoots out, points. There, is that smoke? You follow his finger, squint against the white glare, and yes, a thin column of grey rising from a low spot maybe 2 miles ahead. Smoke means fire. Fire means people. People mean maybe wheat. Hope surges through you, hot and desperate. You urge the horses forward. They respond. Pick up their pace. They can sense your excitement, sense that something is about to happen. You approach carefully. The settler's place materialises out of the white. A small claim shanty. Rough boards, sod roof, barely bigger than a shed, smoke rising from a tin chimney, a small barn nearby. This is it. This is what you've been searching for. You pull the horses to a stop. Sit there for a moment, because this is the moment of truth. Either this man has wheat, or he doesn't. Either he'll sell, or he won't. Your entire journey, the town's entire hope. It all comes down to what happens in the next few minutes. Cap looks at you. His face is red from the cold, but his eyes are bright, hopeful, scared, all at once. Ready, you ask? Ready you are, he confirms. You climb off the sled, walk to the door, knock, heavy, solid, the kind of knock that says, this is important. The door opens, a man stands there, middle-aged, weathered face, suspicious eyes. He looks at you, at Cap, at your horses and sled, and you can see him calculating, wondering who you are, what you want. Help you? His voice is guarded, not unfriendly, just careful. We're from Smet, you say. We're looking to buy wheat. We heard you might have some. His expression doesn't change. Might not. Depends. On what? Cap asks, too eager. Too desperate. The settler looks at him, then back at you. On why you're asking, on what you're offering, on whether I'm inclined to sell my seed wheat to strangers. And there it is. The negotiation, the gamble, everything depends on what you say next. You're standing in front of this settler. His name is Anderson. At least that's what Cap whispered when he saw the name carved rough on a board by the door. Anderson. Or maybe it's Copperwood. The records will argue about this for years, but right now, his name doesn't matter. His wheat does. We can pay, you say. Keep your voice steady, calm, not desperate even though you are. We've got money, real money, and we need wheat. Anderson looks past you at the prairie, at the white expanse, at the sky that could turn murderous without warning. You rode from Smet. Today? This morning, you confirm. Fools, he says. But there's something in his voice. Not mockery. Respect, maybe. Or recognition. Because only desperate men ride 12 miles through February for wheat that might not exist. The town's starving, Cap blurts out. Can't help himself. The trains aren't running. We're out of food. People are dying. Anderson's expression softens, slightly, just slightly. I heard the train stopped. Didn't know it was that bad. It's that bad, you say quietly. We're grinding wheat in coffee mills, 1 loaf per family per day. It's not enough. Won't be enough. We need help. The settler looks at you for a long moment. Then he steps aside. Come in. No point freezing while we talk. You follow him inside. The shanty is small. 1 room. A stove radiating blessed heat. A table. A chair. Bare walls. This is a man living alone, no wife, no children, just him and his land and his dreams of a future crop. On the floor against the far wall you see them. Sacks, multiple sacks, wheat. Your heart pounds. It exists. The rumour was true. There is wheat here. I got about 60 bushels, Anderson says. Watching your face, watching your reaction. Was planning to plant it this spring. It's good seed. Grew it myself last summer. It's my whole future sitting in those sacks. You understand that. Better than he knows. Because you've got 60 bushels of your own hidden back into Smet. You know exactly what it means to a farmer. It's not just grain. It's next year's income, next year's survival. It's hope measured in bushels. We'll pay fair price, you say. More than fair. We know what we're asking. Anderson sits down heavily. Do you? Because what you're asking is for me to gamble everything. If I sell you this wheat, I got nothing to plant. And if the trains don't bring new seed in time, I got no crop, no income, no future. The silence stretches, heavy. You can hear the wind outside, hear the fire crackling in the stove, hear Cap breathing beside you, tense and hopeful and scared. How much would it take, you ask finally? For you to risk it, Anderson thinks. You can see him calculating, weighing, trying to put a price on his future. $1.25 a bushel, he says finally. For all of it. 60 bushels, $75 total. It's high, very high. Normal price for seed wheat is maybe 80 cents a bushel, but these aren't normal times, and you've got Royals money. Everything he had. You count it out in your head. Yes, barely. You have enough. Done, you say. Cap looks at you sharply. Surprised you agreed so fast, but you understand something he doesn't. Time is a factor. The weather could turn, the sky could open up. Every minute you spend here is a minute closer to being trapped by another blizzard. Anderson nods slowly. All right then, let's load it up. You step back outside. The cold hits you like a fist after the warmth of the shanty. Prince and lady are standing patient, waiting. Steam rising from their backs where their bodies have warmed despite the February air. Anderson follows you out. Starts dragging sacks from inside. Each sack weighs maybe 50 pounds. 60 bushels means roughly 2,400 pounds of wheat. That's a heavy load. A very heavy load for 2 horses pulling a sled through snow. But they're Morgans. They can handle it. They have to. You and Cap help load, lifting each sack, placing it carefully on the sled, trying to distribute the weight evenly. The sled sinks deeper into the snow with each sack. The runners making deeper grooves. Anderson watches. His face is unreadable. You wonder what he's thinking. Is he relieved to have money? Is he terrified he just sold his future? Is he regretting it already? You know, he says quietly, I might sow some oats instead, if the trains bring seed in time. It's not much, just a comment. But you hear what he's really saying. I hope I didn't just destroy myself for you. The trains will run again, you say. You don't know this, can't promise this. But you say it anyway because sometimes people need hope more than truth. The last sack is loaded. You count out Royals money. $75 in coins and bills. Everything your brother had. You hand it to Anderson. He takes it, counts it slowly, nods. Good luck getting back, he says, and he means it. Because the return journey is going to be harder than the trip out, much harder. The horses are tired, the sled is loaded heavy, and the weather is never predictable. You climb onto the sled. Cap joins you. The horses lean into the harness, and nothing happens. The sled doesn't move. Too heavy. Too much weight. The snow too deep. Your stomach drops. You didn't account for this. Didn't think about whether the horses could actually pull this load through February snow. You click your tongue. Urge them forward. Come on, Prince. Come on, lady. You can do this. The horses strain, muscles bunching, hooves digging, and slowly, slowly, the sled moves. Inches. Then feet. The runners break free of the snow where they'd settled. Start sliding, moving. They can do it. Thank God. They can do it. But it's slow, so slow. You glance at the sky. Still clear, still bright. But you've been here for maybe 45 minutes. Loading, negotiating, and now it's past noon. You have maybe 5 hours of daylight left, and 12 miles to travel. Maybe more if you don't navigate perfectly. Math you don't want to do, 12 miles, 5 hours, that's averaging less than 3 miles per hour, with tired horses pulling heavy loads through snow. It's going to be close. Very close. Anderson stands in front of his shanty watching you go. 60 bushels poorer. $75 richer. You wonder if he'll regret this. If he'll curse your names when spring comes and he has no seed. Or maybe the trains will run. Maybe he'll buy new seed. Maybe everything will work out. Maybe you're 2 miles from Anderson's place, heading northeast, back toward Smet. The sun is lower now. The shadows are longer, and the temperature is dropping. You can feel it. The way the air gets sharper, meaner. The horses are struggling, not failing, not yet. But you can see the effort. The way they strain with each step. The way their breath comes harder. Clouds of steam. They're working at their limit, and you're asking them to maintain it for hours. Prince stumbles slightly, catches himself, keeps going. Your heart clenches. If one of them goes down, you're finished. Can't get the sled moving again with one horse. Can't lighten the load because the wheat is why you're here. Can't do anything except pray they hold together. Cap is watching the sky. Those clouds, he says, points northwest. You look, and your blood goes cold. Clouds, dark ones, building on the horizon, moving toward you. Not fast, not yet, but building, growing. The kind of clouds that mean snow, wind, blizzard. How long do we have? Cap asks. His voice is steady, but you hear the fear underneath. Hard to say, you admit. Could be hours, could be minutes. Weather moves fast out here. You urge the horses forward. Faster. Please. They respond. Barely. They're giving you everything they have. But everything might not be enough. The landmarks are harder to see now. The sun is lower. The shadows deeper. The white prairie takes on a greyness. Twilight approaching. And you're still miles from town. Still so far. Listen to the wind picking up. Not screaming yet. Not howling. But stronger. More insistent. That's the sound of a storm building. That's the sound of time running out. You think about the people in Smet, waiting, hoping, watching the horizon for 2 young men and 2 horses and 60 bushels of hope. You think about what it will mean if you don't make it back, if the storm catches you, if you die out here with the wheat buried beside you. The town will never know, will assume you failed, will starve without ever knowing that success was 12 miles away when the blizzard hit. That can't happen, won't happen. You push the thought away, focus on the moment, on the horses, on the next mile, the next half mile, the next 100 yards. Prince is limping slightly. You notice it, just barely, his right front leg. Not bad, not serious, but noticeable. He's hurting, exhausted, on the edge of breakdown. Come on, boy, you whisper. Just a little farther, you can do this. Can he, though? Can they? You're asking 2 horses to perform a miracle, to pull a load they shouldn't be able to pull through conditions they shouldn't survive, but they're Morgans, and Morgans don't quit. You're 6 miles from Smet. Maybe. Navigation is getting harder. The light is fading. The clouds are closer, much closer. The wind is picking up, and the first snowflakes are starting to fall. Gentle, soft, deceptive, because you know what comes next. Those gentle flakes are scouts, the vanguard. Behind them is the real storm, the wind, the whiteout, the cold that kills. Cap sees it too. We're not going to make it, are we? His voice is flat, not panicked, just resigned. Like he's already accepted death and is trying to make peace with it. He's 15 years old. Too young to die, too young to have lived enough, but the prairie doesn't care about age, doesn't care about fair. It just kills. We'll make it, you say, force confidence into your voice. We're close. We'll make it. But you're not sure. The horses are at their limit. The snow is falling harder, the wind is building, and you're still miles from safety. You can't see the town yet. Should be able to. On a clear day you could see the buildings from here, the smoke from chimneys, but today there's nothing, just white, and more white, and grey clouds promising worse. The horses slow down, not stopping, not yet, but slowing. Each step is agony now. You can see it, feel it. They're done, finished, running on nothing but loyalty and will. Should we lighten the load? Cap asks. Throw off some sacks? The question tears at you. Because logically, yes. Lightening the load would give the horses a better chance, would speed you up, might mean the difference between survival and death. But those sacks are why you're here. Each one represents days of food for the town, for Mary Ingalls, for Laura, for Grace. Throwing them away means people starve, means this whole journey was for nothing. No, you say. We keep it all. We make it with everything, or we don't make it at all, Cap nods, doesn't argue. Because he understands. This isn't about survival anymore, it's about mission, about purpose, about the reason you left Smet this morning. The snow is falling hard now, visibility dropping. You can see maybe 50 yards. Maybe. The wind is howling. Not screaming yet, but howling, getting worse. Listen to that sound. The wind building, the storm arriving. That's the sound of your time running out. That's the sound of the prairie deciding whether you live or die. Prince stumbles again. Harder this time. Almost goes down. Lady compensates. Takes more weight. Keeps them both moving. But they're failing. You can see it. They're giving you everything and it's not enough. You jump off the sled. Cap, take the reins. Keep them moving. What are you doing? Lightening the load, you say. But not the wheat. Yourself. You start walking beside the horses. One less person on the sled means one less thing to pull. It's not much. But it's something. The cold hits you immediately. Walking is colder than riding. The wind cuts through your coat. Your legs are already tired. But the horses are more tired. This is the least you can do. You walk beside Prince. Put your hand on his shoulder. Feel the muscles trembling with exhaustion. Good boy, you murmur. Good boy. Just a little farther. 4 miles, maybe 3. You've lost track. Lost certainty. Everything is white. Everything is wind. You're navigating by instinct now. By prayer. By hope. Your legs are numb. Your face is ice. You can't feel your fingers anymore. But you keep walking. Keep pushing. Because stopping means dying. Resting means freezing. Movement is survival. Cap is hunched on the sled. Reins in his frozen hands. He's not talking anymore. Just sitting. Enduring. Surviving. His face is red. Then white. Frostbite creeping in. But he's holding on. The horses are barely moving. 1 step at a time. Mechanical. Automatic. They're beyond exhaustion. Beyond pain. They're moving because stopping would mean death. And some part of their brain still knows that. And then you see it. Through the snow, through the wind. A shape. Dark. Square. A building. De Smet. You made it. You actually made it. Relief floods through you. Hot and overwhelming. You want to cry. Want to collapse. Want to just stop and let the adrenaline drain away. But you can't. Not yet. You have to get the horses to shelter. Have to get the wheat to safety. You stumble forward. The horses follow. The sled drags behind. You can see more buildings now. The town. Your town. Safety. People are emerging from buildings, running toward you, shouting. But you can't hear them over the wind. Can't focus on anything except the next step, the next yard, the final distance. Your brother Royal is there. He grabs Prince's bridle, helps guide them. Someone else takes Lady, hands reach for you, for Cap, pull you toward shelter. You made it, Royal is shouting. You crazy fools actually made it. You made it. The words don't feel real. You're standing in De Smet. The wheat is here. The horses are alive. You're alive. Against all odds. Against logic. Against probability. You succeeded. Someone leads the horses to a stable. Out of the wind. Out of the storm. They'll need care. Food. Rest. They gave you everything. Every ounce of strength. Every bit of courage. They deserve rest. Cap is beside you. His face is white, frostbitten. But he's grinning, laughing, relief making him giddy. "We did it," he keeps saying. "We actually did it." The townspeople are unloading the wheat, carrying sacks into buildings, away from the storm. 60 bushels of hope, 60 bushels of survival. It's not enough to last until spring, but it's enough to buy time, enough to stretch, enough to live. Charles Ingalls is there. He looks at the wheat, at you, and his eyes are wet. "You saved us," he says quietly. "You saved my family." You want to say something profound, something meaningful, but you're too tired, too cold, too relieved. So you just nod. The storm hits full force. 4 days of howling wind and blinding snow. 4 days of the worst blizzard yet. If you'd been caught out there, if you'd been even an hour later, you would have died, frozen solid with the wheat beside you. But you weren't. You made it. By minutes, by luck, by the strength of 2 Morgan horses that refuse to quit. You're in Royal's building, warm, safe. The storm is raging outside, but you're inside. You can hear it. The wind screaming, the snow hitting the walls. But you're safe. Your hands are thawing. It hurts. Pins and needles. Sharp pain. Frostbite damage. Your feet too. But you'll keep them. Keep your fingers. Keep your toes. You got lucky. Cap is across the room. Someone's wrapping his face, treating the frostbite. He'll have scars. Marks from this day that will last his whole life. But he's alive. That's what matters. Royal brings you coffee. Hot. Bitter. Perfect. You wrap your hands around the cup. Feel the heat seeping into frozen fingers. "The horses?" you ask. "Alive," Royal confirms. "Exhausted, but alive. They'll recover. Give them a few days. They'll be fine." You close your eyes. Relief. The horses are safe. They gave you everything and they survived. That's all you wanted. All you hoped for. "What about the wheat?" you ask. "Being distributed now. Charles Ingalls is coordinating, making sure everyone gets their share. It's not much per family. Maybe extends our supplies by 2 weeks. 3 if we're careful." 2 weeks? 3 weeks? Not much. Not enough to reach spring, but enough to hope the next break in the weather brings supplies. Enough to survive a little longer. Listen to the storm outside. 4 days of fury. 4 days you would have been trapped in if you'd been slower, if the horses had failed, if anything had gone wrong. But nothing went wrong. Everything that could have failed didn't. The rumours were true. Anderson had wheat. He sold it. The horses held together. The storm waited, just barely. But it waited. Luck, skill, providence. Call it what you want. You survived. And you brought back hope measured in 60 bushels. You're sitting in Royal's store. It's been a week since the wheat run. The storm that chased you home lasted 4 days, then a brief clear period, then another storm. The pattern continues. Endless. Relentless. The wheat you brought back is being rationed carefully. Charles Ingalls and the other town leaders are measuring it out, making it stretch as far as possible. Combined with what little remained in town, including your own 60 bushels that you finally revealed and contributed, the town has enough food to survive another month. Maybe 6 weeks if people are careful. If they eat less, if they grind every kernel, if they waste nothing, it's not enough to reach spring, not even close. But it's enough to hope, enough to believe that maybe the weather will break, maybe the trains will run, maybe supplies will arrive before starvation becomes reality. Your hands are still recovering. The frostbite wasn't severe, just surface damage, but your fingers are tender, painful. They crack and bleed when you work. You wrap them. Keep going, because stopping isn't an option on the frontier. Cap Garland's face is worse. The frostbite left white patches on his cheeks, permanent scars. He's 15 years old and he'll carry the marks of that journey for the rest of his life. But he's alive. That's what matters. He survived what should have killed him. Prince and Lady are recovering too, slowly. You visit them every day, bring them extra feed that you can't really spare. Check their legs, their hooves, their eyes. They gave you everything that day, every ounce of strength, every bit of courage. They deserve rest, deserve care, deserve to know they're valued. Listen to the wind outside, it never stops, even on clear days. The wind blows, constant, brutal, a reminder that winter isn't finished, that February and March still loom ahead, that survival is measured in days, not months. The town has changed. People move differently now, slower, more careful, conserving energy because food is scarce and bodies need fuel. Conversations are quieter, less hopeful. Everyone understands. We're still in danger. The wheat run bought time, nothing more. You think about Anderson, the settler who sold you his seed wheat. Wonder if he regrets it. Wonder if he's surviving. Wonder if the trains will bring him new seed in time for spring planting, or if he gambled his future and lost. But mostly you don't think. You just endure, hour by hour, day by day, waiting for winter to break. February arrives with more storms, more cold, more of everything terrible. The temperature drops even lower, the wind cuts even sharper, the snow keeps falling, people are getting sick, not from disease, from malnutrition, from cold, from exhaustion, bodies breaking down under conditions they weren't designed to endure. Old Mrs. Henderson develops pneumonia, survives, barely. Young Billy Carter's fingers go black from frostbite. The doctor does what he can. It's not enough. Billy loses 2 fingers. He's 9 years old. You watch the Ingalls family carefully. Mary, blind and patient, grinding wheat every day, never complaining, never showing fear, just working, always working. Laura, fierce and angry, helps her mother twist hay. Her hands are raw, bleeding, but she doesn't stop. Carrie and Grace, too young to understand how close they are to disaster, play quietly in the corner. Their laughter sounds wrong. Too innocent for a town dying slowly. Charles Ingalls looks older, thinner. The weight of keeping his family alive is crushing him. You see it in his eyes. The fear, the desperation, the calculation. How much longer can we survive like this? Caroline Ingalls is the strong one. She divides the food with absolute fairness, comforts her daughters, maintains routines that give the illusion of normalcy. But you see her hands shake sometimes, see her stare at the dwindling wheat supply, see her pray when she thinks nobody's watching. This is what survival looks like. Not heroic, not noble, just brutal, grinding, desperate. March comes, still cold, still storming. But something changes, subtle, almost imperceptible. The storms are less frequent. The clear periods last longer. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days without snow. The temperature, while still below freezing, isn't quite as brutal. The wind, while still constant, isn't quite as vicious. Hope creeps back. Dangerous hope, the kind that can break you if it's wrong. And then one morning in early April you hear it, faint, distant, but unmistakable. A train whistle, the first train whistle in 5 months. The sound echoes across the frozen prairie. People pour into the street, crying, laughing, celebrating. The trains are running again, supplies are coming, food, coal, everything the town has been without since December. Survival is no longer a question, it's a certainty. You stand in the street watching people celebrate, relief flooding through you. You did it. You survived. The town survived. Against all odds, against logic, against winter itself. But the cost was high, and the scars will last forever. You're standing at the depot, April 1881, watching the first supply train unload. Flour, salt pork, potatoes, coal, coffee, sugar. Things people haven't seen in months. Things they'd almost forgotten existed. The townspeople are crying. Actually crying. Grown men with tears streaming down their faces. Women clutching bags of flour like they're made of gold. Children staring wide-eyed at food they barely remember. Charles Ingalls is buying supplies for his family. real supplies, enough to fill their pantry, enough to cook actual meals. His daughters are with him. Laura's eyes are wet. Even fierce, angry Laura is crying. Mary can't see the food, can't see the supplies stacked high in the depot, but she can hear the joy, feel the relief, sense that the nightmare is finally over. The town's survival came down to mathematics. 60 bushels of wheat from Anderson, 60 bushels from your hidden supply, plus the small amounts scattered throughout town, stretched across 80 people for 2.5 months. It worked. Barely, but it worked. Some families ran out completely in the final weeks, survived on nothing but twisted hay tea and hope. Others shared what little they had. The community pulled together, helped each other, proved that frontier life, brutal as it is, creates bonds that cities never will. You think about the numbers: 120 bushels of wheat, split 80 ways, ground by hand, rationed carefully. It shouldn't have been enough. By any logical calculation, people should have starved, but they didn't. Somehow, impossibly, everyone survived. No deaths from starvation, despite the deprivation, despite the cold. Despite 5 months of isolation, Smet survived the long winter intact. Listen to the celebration around you. That's the sound of relief, of gratitude, of people who looked death in the face and walked away. But underneath the joy, there's something else. Trauma, fear, the knowledge that winter could come again, that survival is never guaranteed, that the frontier takes more than it gives. The town will remember this winter forever. We'll tell stories about it, about the blizzards, about the cold, about 2 young men who rode into February for wheat and somehow survived, about a community that refused to give up. But you know the truth. Luck saved you. Not skill, not bravery. Luck. The storm waiting just a few extra hours. The horses holding together just long enough. Anderson having wheat and being willing to sell. All of it came down to chance, and chance could just as easily have gone the other way. Cap Garland is standing nearby, his face still scarred from frostbite. He catches your eye, nods. No words needed. You both know what you did, what it cost, what it meant. Royal approaches. Your brother looks exhausted, relieved. He doesn't say anything, just puts his hand on your shoulder, squeezes. That's enough. That says everything. Spring arrives properly in late April. The snow melts. The prairie turns green. Wildflowers bloom. The transformation is startling. How can the same land that tried to kill you for 5 months suddenly become beautiful? How can winter's brutality give way to spring's gentleness so completely? But it does. The frontier is like that. Extreme, unforgiving, and occasionally breathtakingly lovely. You take Prince and Lady out for a ride. First real ride since the wheat run. They're recovered, strong again, ready to work. They move easily across the greening prairie, enjoying the warmth, the freedom, the absence of desperate survival. You ride south, toward where Anderson lives, want to check on him, see if he survived, see if the trains brought him seed. His claim, Shanty, is still there, smoke rising from the chimney. You approach. Knock. Anderson opens the door. Looks surprised to see you. Wilder. Didn't expect to see you again. Wanted to make sure you made it through, you say. See if you got seed. Anderson nods slowly. Train brought seed last week. Oats, not wheat. But I'll make it work. Your town survive? Everyone made it. Your wheat saved us. Something passes across Anderson's face. Relief, maybe. Or satisfaction. He gambled his future to save strangers, and both he and the strangers survived. That's as good an outcome as anyone could hope for on the frontier. Good, Anderson says simply. Then, that was a hell of a ride you made. Storm hit 4 hours after you left here. If you'd been slower... I know, you interrupt. Don't need him to finish. Know exactly how close you came to dying. Anderson looks at you. Really looks. You're braver than I gave you credit for, Or crazier, haven't decided which. Probably both, you admit. He almost smiles. Almost. Good luck, Wilder. Hope your horses recovered. They did. Thanks for asking. You ride back to Smet. The conversation wasn't long, wasn't profound, but it mattered. Two men acknowledging what happened, what it cost, what it meant. That's enough. The town is rebuilding, not physically. The building survived winter intact, but emotionally, psychologically, people are trying to remember how to live without constant fear, how to plan for a future that extends beyond the next storm, how to believe that survival is possible. It's not easy. The long winter broke something in people, left scars deeper than frostbite, left fears that won't fade with spring warmth. But humans are resilient, especially frontier humans. They survived winter. They'll survive the aftermath too. You're 22 years old, and you're a hero. You don't want to be, didn't ask to be. But that's what the town calls you. Hero. The man who saved Smet. It's uncomfortable. Makes you squirm, because you know the truth. You're not a hero. You're just someone who got lucky. Who had good horses and made a desperate gamble that happened to work. But people need heroes. Need someone to admire, someone to thank, someone to point to and say, that's who saved us. So you accept it. Smile when people thank you. Nod when they praise you. Play the role they need you to play. But inside you remember. Remember the terror, the cold, the certainty that you were going to die. Remember Prince stumbling, Lady compensating, the storm building behind you, the desperate race against death. That's not heroism. That's survival. And survival isn't noble, it's just necessary. Cap Garland handles it better. He's young enough to enjoy the attention, old enough to understand its value. His mother is proud. His sisters brag about him. He's the boy who risked everything to save the town. Good story. Better reputation. It'll help him in life. Open doors, create opportunities. You're happy for him. Glad something good came from that hell ride. Mary Ingalls starts coming around. Not obviously, not directly, but you notice her, watching you, curious. She's 15, too young for you to think about seriously. But there's something about her, intelligence, strength, fire, the kind of person who survives, who endures, who refuses to break. You'll remember that later, much later, when she's older and you're ready and the timing is finally right. But for now, she's just Charles Ingalls' daughter, the fierce one, the one who didn't give up during the long winter. The town slowly returns to normal. Fields are planted, businesses reopen, the railroad runs on schedule, life continues, but everyone who survived the long winter is changed, marked by it. They move differently, talk differently, look at the sky differently, because they know now what winter can do. What the frontier can take, how quickly survival can become impossible. You understand that bone deep. That ride taught you things you'll never forget. Taught you about limits, about mortality, about the thin line between life and death. About how quickly everything can end. It makes you careful, makes you plan, makes you value things you took for granted before. Food, warmth, shelter, safety. The simple comfort of not being in immediate danger. The summer of 1881 is beautiful, warm, abundant, the kind of summer that makes people forget winter ever happened. But you don't forget, can't forget. Every time the wind picks up, you tense. Every time clouds gather, you calculate. Every time temperature drops, you remember. The long winter lives in you now, permanent, unchangeable, part of who you are. You work your claim, plant wheat, tend your horses, live your life, but differently than before, with awareness, with caution, with respect for forces beyond your control. Years will pass, you'll court Mary Ingalls, marry her, start a farm, build a life. But the memory of that February ride will never fade, will never lose its power, will never stop reminding you how close you came to dying. And decades later, when Laura writes about it, when she turns that winter into a story, People will read it and think, how dramatic, how exaggerated, how impossible. But you'll know. You were there. You lived it. You survived it. And every word is true, every detail accurate, every moment as terrible as she described. The long winter of 1880, 1881 wasn't a story. It was real, and it nearly killed everyone in Smet, South Dakota. But it didn't, because 2 young men rode into February with Morgan horses and desperate hope, and somehow, impossibly, survived. That's not heroism. That's just the frontier. Brutal, unforgiving, and occasionally merciful. You're 26 years old. It's August 25th, 1885, and you're getting married. Laura Ingalls stands beside you. 16 years old, small, fierce, beautiful. She's wearing a simple dress. Nothing fancy, nothing elaborate. This is a frontier wedding. Practical, quiet, real. Reverend Edward Brown officiates. The ceremony is short, to the point. Do you take this woman? Do you take this man? Yes. Yes. You're married. Laura looks up at you. Her eyes are bright, hopeful. She believes in the future, believes you'll build a good life together, believes that hard work and determination are enough. You want to believe that too, want to share her optimism, but you've seen too much, survived too much, know too well how quickly things can fall apart. Still, you married her, chose her, committed to her. That means something. That means you're willing to try, willing to hope, willing to build despite knowing how easily everything can be destroyed. The years between the wheat run and this wedding were good. Mostly, you worked your claim, planted wheat, raised crops, made money, not a fortune, but enough. Enough to survive, enough to plan, enough to believe marriage was possible. You courted Laura properly, drove her to and from her teaching job 12 miles outside Smet, took her for buggy rides in summer, sleigh rides in winter. Prince and lady pulled you both. The horses that saved the town now pulling you toward a future. Laura fell in love with the horses first, then with you. She'd stroke Prince's nose, murmur to lady, appreciate them for what they are. Strong, reliable, loyal, the same qualities she values in people. You fell in love with Laura gradually, her determination, her refusal to complain, her ability to find joy despite hardship. She's been through as much as you, maybe more, her sister's blindness, the long winter, poverty, struggle, but she doesn't break, doesn't quit, just keeps going. That's what you need. Someone who understands, someone who won't crumble when things get hard, because things will get hard. They always do on the frontier. You settle on your homestead claim, start farming seriously. Laura helps. She's small but strong, works as hard as any man. Doesn't complain about the labour, about the isolation, about the constant struggle. She just works. December 5th, 1886. Your daughter Rose is born, tiny, perfect, screaming with healthy lungs. Laura holds her, exhausted, happy. You look at this baby girl and feel terror, because now you're responsible, not just for yourself, not just for Laura, for this helpless infant who depends on you completely. The weight is crushing. What if you fail? What if the crops fail? What if winter comes again like it did in 1880? What if you can't provide, can't protect, can't keep your family alive? But you push the fear down, lock it away. Because that's what men do on the frontier. They carry the weight, bear the responsibility, and pray they're strong enough. The first years of marriage are hard, not because of conflict, because of everything else. Weather, crops, money, the constant grind of trying to make a farm profitable in Dakota territory. You plant wheat, good seed, the kind you carefully cultivated. It grows well, strong, healthy. And then the weather turns. Too much rain, too little rain, too much heat. Frost at the wrong time. The wheat fails, not completely, but enough. Enough that you don't make the money you needed, don't have the surplus you counted on. You borrow money, take on debt, promise to repay, The interest rate is brutal, 36% legal robbery, but you have no choice. Need the money to buy food, to buy seed for next year, to survive until the next harvest. Next year will be better, you tell yourself. Next year the weather will cooperate. Next year the crops will thrive. Next year you'll repay the debt and start building real wealth. But next year isn't better, it's worse. You're 29 years old, it's spring 1888, and you're sick. It starts with a sore throat, minor, annoying, nothing serious. You ignore it. Keep working. Because farmers don't have time to be sick. Crops don't care if you're feeling poorly. Work doesn't stop for discomfort, but the sore throat gets worse. Your neck swells. Lymph nodes hard as rocks. Painful to touch. Painful to swallow. Fever starts. High. Burning. You try to keep working. Can't. Your body won't cooperate. Laura is sick too. Same symptoms, same fever, but not as severe. She's uncomfortable, miserable, but functional. You're not. You're down. Completely down. The doctor comes, looks at your throat, sees the grey membrane forming. His face goes carefully blank. Professional. That's never good. When doctors hide their reactions, it means something bad. Diphtheria, he says quietly. Diphtheria. The word hangs in the air. Heavy. Terrifying. Because everyone knows what diphtheria means. Death. Especially for children. But adults die too, plenty of them. The grey membrane in your throat is the diphtheria bacteria. It's blocking your airway, making it hard to breathe, hard to swallow, and it's producing toxins, poisoning your body, attacking your nerves, your heart, your muscles. There's no cure, no treatment beyond rest and hoping your body is strong enough to fight it off. Some people survive, some don't. It's chance, luck, the same brutal lottery that governs everything on the frontier. You survive, barely. The fever breaks after a week. The membrane clears. Your throat heals. You're weak, exhausted, but alive. Laura recovers too, faster than you. She's up and moving within days. Back to caring for Rose, back to managing the household. She's tired but functional. You're not functional. Something is wrong. Very wrong. Your legs don't work properly. They're weak, numb. When you try to stand, they don't respond right, don't support you right. You stumble, fall, can't walk without help. The doctor comes back, examines you. His face is grave. Diphtheritic neuropathy, he says. The toxins damaged your nerves, especially in your legs. Will it heal, you ask? He hesitates. That hesitation tells you everything. Some cases improve, some don't. Time will tell. Time tells. And the answer is, it won't fully heal, ever. Your legs remain weak, numb from the hips down. You can walk, sort of, with effort, with pain, with Laura's help. But you can't work like before, can't handle heavy physical labour, can't hitch horses by yourself because your fingers are too clumsy, too stiff. Can't do the 1,000 small tasks that farming requires. You're 29 years old and you're disabled. Permanently. The realization is crushing. You're a farmer. Your livelihood depends on physical labour, on being able to work dawn to dusk, on being strong enough to handle whatever the land throws at you. And now you can't. Your body betrayed you. Diphtheria stole your strength, stole your future, left you broken. Laura doesn't complain. Doesn't blame you, just picks up the slack, does more of the work, helps you walk, rubs your legs trying to restore sensation that won't return. She's 18 years old and bearing weight no 18-year-old should have to bear. You watch her work. Watch her struggle. Watch her exhaust herself. And you hate yourself. Hate your weakness. Hate that you can't provide, can't protect, can't be the husband she deserves. But she never says that, never implies it. Just keeps working, keeps trying, keeps believing that somehow you'll make it through. The farm struggles. Without your full labour, things fall apart. Crops suffer, animals suffer, money disappears, the debt grows, the interest compounds. You're drowning, slowly, inevitably. And then August 1889 arrives. And everything gets worse. You're 30 years old. Laura is pregnant again. After Rose, after 3 years, another baby is coming. Hope flickers. Maybe this is the turning point. Maybe a new baby means new luck, new chances, a new beginning. August arrives. Laura goes into labour. It's hard, painful. Longer than Rose's birth. But finally the baby comes. A boy, unnamed, perfect, 10 fingers, 10 toes, strong lungs. He cries. That's good. That means healthy. For 2 weeks he lives. You hold him, marvel at him, plan his future. Think about teaching him to farm, to ride, to handle horses, to survive on the frontier. You name him. Actually, you never get the chance. Laura never speaks of him, never writes his name. The grief is too deep, the loss too terrible. Some things are too painful to preserve. 2 weeks old, and he dies. Convulsions, sudden, violent, unstoppable. One moment he's alive, the next he's gone. Dead in Laura's arms, dead before the doctor arrives, dead before you can do anything. You bury him. Tiny grave, tiny coffin, enormous grief. Laura doesn't cry, not in front of you. She goes somewhere inside herself. Somewhere distant, somewhere you can't reach. You grieve differently. Rage. At God. At fate. At the frontier that takes and never gives back. At diphtheria for crippling you. At poverty for crushing you. At life for being so unbearably cruel. 2 weeks later, your house burns down. You're not home. Laura is. She escapes. Barely. Grabs a few things. Runs. Watches everything you've built turn to ash. The house. Your furniture. Your clothes. Your tools. Your memories. Everything. Gone. You stand in the ashes. Disabled. Bereaved. Broken. And you understand. The frontier has beaten you. Completely. Utterly. Finally. The crops fail that summer too. Drought. The worst in years. Your wheat withers, dies, produces nothing. No income, no hope, no future. 7 years of marriage, 7 years of struggle. And this is where it led. Ashes, debt, disability, dead son, failed crops, broken dreams. You look at Laura. She's 22 years old, looks 40. The frontier aged her, hardened her, but didn't break her. She's still here, still standing, still willing to fight. What now? She asks quietly. Good question. What now? When everything is lost, when your body's broken, when your son is dead, when your house is ashes, when your crops are dust. What do? You don't know. For the first time since the wheat run, you genuinely don't know if survival is possible. But you're still alive. Laura's still alive. Rose is still alive. That's something. That's enough. That has to be enough. We start over, you say finally. Somewhere else. Somewhere we can survive. Laura nods. No tears, no complaints. Just acceptance. Just determination. Just the same fierce refusal to quit that made you love her in the first place. The frontier didn't break you. Not completely. Not yet. But it came close. Closer than the long winter. Closer than the wheat run. Closer than anything. This is the price of survival. This is what the frontier costs. And you're still paying. You're 35 years old. It's July 1894. And you're leaving Dakota forever. The wagon is loaded. Everything you own, which isn't much. A few clothes, some cooking supplies, tools. Rose, now 7 years old, sits in the back. Laura sits beside you on the wagon seat. Prince and Lady pull the wagon. Still strong, still reliable, still the best horses you've ever owned. You're heading to Missouri. Mansfield, Missouri. You've heard about it. Read brochures. The land of the big red apple. Warmer climate. Better farming. Lower costs. Fresh start. Everything you need to rebuild. You have $100. That's it. Everything you could scrape together after paying debts. After selling what little you had left. $100 to start a new life in a new place. It's not enough. Not remotely enough. But it's all you have. So it has to be enough. The journey takes weeks. Slow travel. Your legs still don't work right, still numb, still weak. You can drive the wagon once the horses are hitched, but hitching them requires Laura's help. Your fingers are too clumsy, too stiff. The diphtheria damage is permanent. You stop into Smet one last time. Say goodbye to family, to friends, to the place where you almost died and somehow survived, to the town you saved with a desperate winter ride 14 years ago. Cap Garland is there. Now 29, married, successful. The wheat run didn't ruin him, made him, gave him a reputation that opened doors, built a life. He shakes your hand. Good luck, Almanzo. Hope Missouri treats you better than Dakota did. Can't be worse, you reply. He looks at your legs, at the limp that never healed, at the cane you use for balance. His face is sympathetic. That diphtheria was a hell of a thing. Yeah, you say simply. What else is there to say? It broke you, stole your strength, ruined your farming career. But you survived. That's something. Royal is there too, your brother, the one who gave you everything for the wheat run, who supported you through diphtheria, through loss, through failure, who watched you try and fail and try again. You'll make it work, Royal says firmly. You always do. You want to believe him. Want to share his confidence. But you've failed too many times, tried too hard, lost too much. Confidence is a luxury you can't afford. The journey south is beautiful. Late summer, warm weather, green landscapes, everything so different from Dakota. No endless prairie, no brutal winds, no memories of blizzards and starvation and cold that kills. Laura's quiet, thoughtful. She's leaving behind her family, her parents, her sisters, everything familiar. Moving to a place she's never seen with a disabled husband and $100. It's terrifying. But she doesn't complain, just watches the landscape change, adapts, endures. Rose is excited, 7 years old and seeing new places, new things, new possibilities. She doesn't understand failure, doesn't know about dead brothers and burned houses and crops that fail year after year. She just knows adventure, change, something different. You arrive in Mansfield on August 31st, 1894. Find property for sale, 40 acres, rough land, rocky, hilly, forested. Not ideal farming land, but cheap, very cheap. The owner will take $100 as down payment. Let you pay the rest over time. You look at the land. It's not what you wanted, not what you imagined, but it's what you can afford, and sometimes that's enough. What do you think? You ask Laura. She surveys the rocky hillside, the scrub trees, the rough terrain, and she smiles. Actually smiles. It's perfect, she says. We'll call it Rocky Ridge. Perfect. It's not perfect. It's barely functional. But she sees possibility, sees potential, sees hope where you see rocks and difficulty. That's why you married her. That's why you'll survive this. Because she refuses to give up, refuses to see defeat, refuses to accept that failure is permanent. You buy the property, sign the papers, own 40 acres in Missouri. It's not much, but it's yours. A place to start, a place to build, a place to finally, maybe find peace. You're 36 years old. It's 1895, and you're building a house. Not quickly, not easily. Your legs don't allow quick or easy, but methodically, carefully, board by board, nail by nail, creating something permanent, something that won't burn, something that will last. Laura helps. Of course she helps. She's always helped. Carries lumber when you can't, holds boards while you nail, does the physical labour your disabled legs can't manage. She's 28 years old and stronger than most men. Rose helps too, 8 years old, fetching tools. Carrying small items, learning by watching. She'll remember this. Remember her parents building a house with their bare hands, building a life from nothing. The house grows slowly, one room, then another, then another. It's not fancy, not elaborate, just solid. well built, designed to last. You're a good carpenter, always were. Diphtheria took your legs but left your hands, left your skill, left your ability to create. You're building more than a house. You're building proof that you're not finished, not broken, not defeated. Proof that the frontier didn't destroy you, damaged you, yes, crippled you, certainly, but didn't destroy you. The land is challenging. Rocky Ridge is well named. The soil is thin. Rocky, hard to farm. But there are apple trees, young trees in nursery rows, 800 of them, left by the previous owner. Needing planting, needing care, you plant them. It's slow work, your legs ache, your back aches, everything aches. But you plant them, one tree at a time, 800 trees, 800 chances, 800 possibilities for income. Laura plants a garden, vegetables, herbs, flowers. She makes the rough land beautiful, makes the rocky hillside feel like home, creates abundance from scarcity. Slowly, so slowly, things improve. The apple trees grow, produce fruit. You sell the apples, make money. Not much, but some. Enough to keep going, enough to hope. You add chickens, then cows, then goats. Diversify. Don't depend on one crop. Don't make the same mistakes you made in Dakota. Spread the risk. Create multiple income streams. Laura starts taking in boarders, renters, extra income. She cooks, cleans, manages. Adds to the household funds. Every dollar matters. Every cent counts. Years pass. 5 years. 10 years. 15. Rocky Ridge grows, expands, becomes productive, becomes profitable, becomes home. You never get rich, never escape struggle, but you survive. You build something, create something, prove something to yourself, to Laura, to the world. The diphtheria damage never heals. Your legs remain weak, numb. You walk with a limp for the rest of your life. Use a cane, need help with heavy work, but you adapt. Find ways, create systems, survive despite the disability. Laura thrives. She's always thrived. But here, in Missouri, she finds something she never had in Dakota. Security, stability, the confidence that winter won't kill you, that crops will grow, that survival is possible. She starts writing, just notes at first, memories, stories about her childhood, about the frontier, about the long winter, about survival and struggle and family. She's not trying to publish, just remembering, preserving, creating something permanent from impermanent memories. Rose grows up, becomes a writer, successful, published, famous. She helps Laura, encourages her, edits her work. Eventually, Laura's stories become books. The Little House series, stories that will last forever, that will teach generations about frontier life, about survival, about family. And in those books you appear, the quiet farmer who risked everything to save a starving town, the man with the beautiful Morgan horses, the one who courted Laura with buggy rides and sleigh rides, the one who built Rocky Ridge from nothing. The books don't mention diphtheria, don't mention the dead baby. Don't mention the years of failure and loss and crushing defeat. They preserve the good memories, the brave moments, the love story. You're fine with that. Some stories deserve to be told. Some deserve to be forgotten. The wheat run deserves telling. The diphtheria doesn't. You're 90 years old. It's October 23rd, 1949, and you're dying. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just old age, wearing out, your body finally giving up after 9 decades of use and abuse and survival. You're in your bed at Rocky Ridge, the house you built, the home you created. Laura is beside you. She's 82, still strong, still fierce, still the same woman you married 64 years ago. Rose is there too, your daughter, 63 years old, successful writer, living in Connecticut, but here now, home, saying goodbye. You think about your life. 90 years. What a strange journey. What an unlikely survival. Born in 1859, grew up on a farm in New York, moved west, took a claim in Dakota, experienced the long winter, rode into February for wheat, survived against all odds, married Laura, built a farm, fought weather and debt and diphtheria, lost a son, lost a house, lost almost everything, moved to Missouri, started over, built Rocky Ridge, created a life, survived, thrived even, in your own quiet way. The diphtheria never left you. For 61 years you've walked with a limp, lived with numb legs, adapted to disability, but you adapted, survived, kept going. That's the story of your life. Survival, against odds, against logic, against everything that should have killed you. You survived. The long winter should have killed you. The wheat run should have killed you. Diphtheria should have killed you. Poverty should have killed you. The frontier should have killed you a dozen times over. But it didn't. You survived. For 90 years. Long enough to see the frontier disappear. Long enough to see cars replace horses. Long enough to see the world transform beyond recognition. Prince and Lady died decades ago. Old age. Peaceful deaths. You buried them on Rocky Ridge, marked their graves. They deserved that. Deserved recognition. They saved your life, saved the town, earned their place in history. Laura squeezes your hand. You can barely feel it. Your hands are numb now too. Old age taking what diphtheria left. But you know she's there. Feel her presence, her strength, her love. Thank you, you whisper. For what? For everything. For marrying you. For standing by you. For surviving with you. For building a life despite everything. For being Laura. She understands. She always understands. Rest now, she says gently. You've earned it. Earned it. Have you? You don't know. You just did what was necessary. Survived. Endured. Kept going when giving up seemed easier. That's not earning. That's just living. But maybe that's enough. Maybe survival itself is the accomplishment. Maybe lasting 90 years on the frontier despite everything is worth celebrating. Your breathing slows, your heart stutters, your body finally, mercifully gives up the fight. You're 90 years old. You survived the long winter. You saved a town. You built a life. You endured. And now, finally, you rest. Laura Ingalls. Wilder will live another 8 years. She'll die in 1957. Her books will live forever. The stories of frontier life, of survival, of family, of courage. And in those books, your story lives too. Almanzo Wilder. The quiet farmer, the brave young man, the one with the Morgan horses, the one who rode into February and survived. The long winter of 1880-1881 was real. The wheat run was real. The survival was real. And the cost was real. But so was the redemption. So was Rocky Ridge. So was 90 years of life hard won and deeply lived. That's the frontier. Brutal, unforgiving, deadly. But occasionally, just occasionally, merciful enough to let you survive. To build, to love, to last. And that's enough. That has to be enough. Because that's all anyone gets. Survival, love, time. And if you're very lucky, 90 years to prove that the frontier couldn't break you after all. You're Laura Ingalls Wilder. It's 1930. You're 63 years old. And you're remembering to Smet. Remembering the long winter. Remembering being 15 years old and starving. Remembering the day 2 young men rode out into February and everyone thought they'd never come back. Remembering Almanzo. He's 71 now. Still limping, still using his cane. The diphtheria damage never healed. Never will. But he's alive. After 90 years, that's the miracle. He's still here. You're sitting at your desk at Rocky Ridge, the house Almanzo built, board by board, despite his damaged legs, despite everything the frontier threw at you both. This house has stood for 35 years. Will stand for generations more. Your daughter Rose encouraged you to write. She's a successful writer now, published, famous, makes good money. She says you have stories worth telling. Stories people need to hear. You're not sure. Who wants to read about frontier hardship, about starvation and cold and struggle? The world has moved on. It's 1930. Cars, radios, electricity, modern conveniences. Why would anyone care about a winter in 1880 when trains stopped running and people nearly died? But Rose insists. People need to know, she says. Need to understand what it was like, what you survived, what built this country. So you start writing. Just memories at first. About Pa, about Ma, about growing up moving from place to place across the frontier, about the little house in the big woods, about the prairie, about everything, and about the long winter, about the blizzards that wouldn't stop, about grinding wheat in a coffee mill, about burning twisted hay, about watching Mary, your blind sister, work hour after hour without complaint, about the hunger that never ended, about the fear that winter would kill you all, about Almanzo, listen to him outside, working in the orchard, slow, careful. His legs don't work right, but he never stopped, never gave up, never accepted defeat. That's who he is. That's who he's always been. You write about the wheat run, about the day he and Cap Garland rode into February looking for survival measured in bushels, about the town holding its breath, waiting, hoping, praying, about the moment they returned, storm building, horses exhausted, wheat loaded on the sled, success against impossible odds. You write it all down, every detail you remember, every emotion you felt, every moment of terror and hope and desperate survival. You preserve it, make it permanent, turn memory into story. Turn history into legend. The words flow. Page after page, chapter after chapter. The story wants to be told, demands to be told. You can't stop writing, can't stop remembering, can't stop honouring what you survived. You're Mary Ingalls Wilder. It's 1940. You're 73 years old. And you're famous. Your books are everywhere. Little House in the Big Woods, Farmer Boy, Little House on the Prairie, on the banks of Plum Creek, by the shores of Silver Lake, The Long Winter, Little Town on the Prairie, These Happy Golden Years, 8 books, 8 stories, your entire childhood preserved, your entire frontier experience immortalized, millions of readers, children, adults, everyone. They love the stories, love the adventure, love the family, love the survival, love the hope. They read about Pa and Ma and Mary and Carrie and Grace. They read about you, Laura, the fierce middle daughter who became a teacher, who married a farmer, who survived. They read about Almanzo, the quiet young man with the beautiful Morgan horses, the one who risked everything for wheat, the one who courted you with buggy rides, the one who built Rocky Ridge from nothing. The books don't tell everything. Don't mention the dead baby. Don't detail the diphtheria damage. Don't describe the years of failure and crushing debt. You chose what to preserve, chose what to share, chose to honour the good while acknowledging the hard. The Long Winter is the most popular, the most dramatic, the most intense. Readers can't believe it's true, can't believe people actually survived that, can't believe trains stopped for 7 months, can't believe a town nearly starved. Can't believe 2 young men rode into a blizzard for wheat. But it's all true. Every word. You were there. You lived it. You survived it. Letters arrive daily from readers, thanking you, telling you what the books mean to them, how they inspired them, helped them, gave them courage during their own hard times. The Great Depression is happening now. 1930s, economic collapse, unemployment, poverty, struggle. Your books about frontier hardship resonate. People understand. They're living their own version of survival, their own desperate hope, their own refusal to give up. You read the letters to Almanzo. He listens. Quiet. Uncomfortable with fame. He never wanted to be a hero. Never sought attention. Just did what was necessary and moved on. But he's proud, you can tell. Proud that the story is preserved. Proud that people know. Proud that the Long Winter won't be forgotten. Proud that Prince and Lady's sacrifices remembered. Did it really happen like you wrote it? Readers ask. Every word, you reply, every detail. I was there. I remember. And you do. 60 years later, you remember everything. The cold, the hunger, the fear, the hope, the moment Almanzo and Cap returned, the relief, the gratitude, the knowledge that you'd survived. Some memories you can't forget. Some experiences mark you forever. The long winter was one. It shaped you, made you who you are, taught you what survival costs, what endurance means, what the frontier demanded. And now, through your books, millions know, millions understand, millions appreciate. The story lives forever. You're sitting at Rocky Ridge. It's 1949. Almanzo died this morning, October 23rd. Peacefully, old age, 90 years. He made it. He actually made it. You're 82, alone now. Rose is here, helping, grieving. But you're alone in a way you haven't been since 1885, since the day you married Almanzo and committed to surviving together. 64 years of marriage, 64 years of partnership, 64 years of enduring, building, loving, surviving. All of it ending with a quiet death in the house he built. You think about the wheat run, about February 1881, about the young man who risked everything, about the Morgan horses that refused to quit, about the storm that waited just long enough, about the miracle of survival. That's the story people know, the story your books told, the adventure, the bravery, the triumph. But there's more, always more. The story your books didn't tell, the aftermath, the years of struggle. The diphtheria that crippled him, the dead baby you never named, the house that burned, the crops that failed, the debt that crushed, the move to Missouri, the slow, painful rebuilding. That's survival too. Not dramatic, not exciting, just grinding, exhausting, necessary. The unglamorous work of enduring year after year after year. Almanzo did that, without complaint, without bitterness, without giving up. The frontier damaged him, crippled him, took so much from him, but it didn't break him, didn't defeat him, didn't stop him from building a life worth living. That's the real story, not the wheat run. That was one day, one desperate gamble, one moment of bravery. The real story is 64 years, 64 years of waking up and trying again, 64 years of adaptation, 64 years of refusing to quit. That's the legacy. That's what matters. That's what you want people to understand. The frontier was brutal, unforgiving, deadly. It killed people, destroyed dreams, crushed hope. But it didn't kill everyone. Some survived, some endured, some built lives despite everything. Almanzo was one, you were one, your family was one, Smet was one. Millions of frontier settlers were ones. They tried, they struggled, they survived, and they built America. That's worth remembering, worth honouring, worth preserving in books that will last forever. Listen to the silence. Almanzo's gone, the quiet farmer, the brave young man, the disabled survivor, the 90-year-old testament to endurance. He's gone. But the story remains, the books remain, the memory remains, and generations yet unborn will read about him. About the long winter, about the wheat run, about survival against impossible odds. They'll learn, they'll understand, they'll appreciate, and maybe, when they face their own hard winters, they'll remember. If Almanzo Wilder could ride into February 1881 with Morgan horses and desperate hope and survive, maybe they can survive too. Maybe endurance is possible. Maybe courage is real. Maybe the frontier didn't destroy everyone. Maybe some made it. Maybe survival is its own victory. That's the truth. That's the legacy. That's what lasts. The long winter happened. The wheat run happened. The survival happened. Almanzo Wilder happened. And Laura Ingalls Wilder preserved it all, made it permanent, turned history into story, turned memory into immortality. 90 years of life, 64 years of marriage, 8 books, millions of readers, generations of impact. That's what survives. That's what matters. That's what endures. The frontier is gone. The little houses are gone. The covered wagons are gone. The blizzards are gone. But the stories remain. The lessons remain. The courage remains. And somewhere in a grave at Rocky Ridge under Missouri soil rests Almanzo Wilder, the man who saved a town, the man who survived, the man who endured, the man who proved that the frontier couldn't break everyone. That's his legacy. That's his victory. That's his immortality. The books will tell his story forever, and every reader will know. Once, in February 1881, a young man rode into a blizzard for wheat, and he survived. And he lived 90 years, and he mattered. That's enough. That's everything. That's the truth that lasts beyond death, beyond time, beyond forgetting. The long winter is over. But the memory lives forever.